Makes me,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why I love going shopping. You know, that card. That's too obvious.
I noticed the air conditioner doesn't.
Oh,
It wouldn't be sure. Yeah, that was the storm.
That's not changing.
No, they can't.
There's really no eating your body. They got conversations each and everything that's in the offices. So they don't control everything. They're first year right there. You can just be all over complimented around. If the drain goes over here, it's going to be. And to break it. It doesn't go.
2 second, it's one for homestead, you call one for.
Yeah, but they call it. Yeah, so we get the same statutory concessions.
It's all set up.
And so it's too long there. For a few years.
You know, there may be certain
They work on it.
extensions that you have, but everything's all set. You know, there's like,
If you got any stranger,
yeah, what can we do?
so
Some of those.
you were the full uniform.
There's
Now, regalia.
There's something like,
Is that good or bad?
They're only, we'll go about it.
Oh,
you can get ready on that board, it's like, if it's there, low and you're always qualifications, like it's a huge one.
Let's do that.
You can only do
you know, we got some rain.
It's steadily climbing down.
Once the city comes on that board, it's all. You can do some sort of. Fire assessment, water assessment, so you can't, so you still have to assess kind of carve out the resolution of the city. Usually that's what's going on. Not for assessments. You don't have all this.
That's just what
It's more. Capital City, we spend all the plus they fire us.
They're all making
Investment, you go for things. Fair way to do just this use after the usually putting flyers and well, that's Airborne. They're basically so cities are going to kind of do school. The school's going to be like for passing, they're not enjoy the school, but they're saying, maximum numbers hours, right? And so you have,
How's your son?
and school, everybody's max, so. Which we can't hire, that is, this year.
Where do you go?
What do you have? That's also very good. So we started. Yeah, so we started. I started there in 2007. Started the process.
You don't really work.
Maybe right before that first. We kept it around.
The only son that's right
Is the litigation push the direction? Also,
It'll be the next day.
how are you gonna? Please.
come back.
There's 67 counties.
Shy of sending my fingerprints.
Versus the other 34 counties.
We'll speak on that. We have to go through some 4%
We'll call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the City of Callaway Board of Commissioners. It is Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. It's 6 p.m. If y'all will stand with me, Commissioner Brooks, I would you please do the invitation, and Commissioner Griggs lead us in the pledge.
Thank you guys so much for allowing us the opportunity to meet tonight. Pray God that we would have cool heads and use sound judgment in all our decisions. I thank you for the weather. I thank you for everybody that makes Callaway such a wonderful place for us to live and thrive, Lord. Continue blessing us in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, please do a roll call.
Commissioner Bergfeld?
Here.
Commissioner Griggs?
Here.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Here.
Commissioner Ayers?
Here, ma'am.
Mayor Henderson?
Here. Okay, we have one presentation tonight. Deputy Martin will do the Bay County Sheriff's Office April statistics.
Good afternoon, everybody. For April, we had 1,145 calls for service, 23,462 miles patrolled, total 48 arrests, 254 traffic stops, 174 citations, and 30 traffic accidents. 12 of those were parking lot accidents, and 7 out of the 12 were for improper backing. We only had 4 traffic crashes at 22 and the Parkway last month, and 3 at Tyndall Parkway and 7th Street. And the majority of those were for following too closely some rear-ending accidents. We had 3 for failed yield right away, so not too bad there. Not anything major, thank goodness, last month for those. While I'm up here, I'll have a second. Got a couple little presentations here. See who's first. This is for Kite Day. I want to thank y'all that came out and worked this year to make that a success. Commissioner Pelletier, there is a
Just free to get out of jail pass?
I print those off in the basement runner. But there is a
Oh, thank you.
little slate. Little guy there we go.
Thank you.
And a stand for that.
All right.
Let's see. Same thing for you, good sir, Commissioner Briggs.
Thank you.
Got you a certificate. Also,
This is a stop sign pass, isn't
we're gonna get a couple of that. Thank you for coming out, sir.
it? And thank you. Thank you for what y'all do on these.
Thank you.
There's your show. Thank you. I get the right names on the boxes. And there's a review.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we just appreciate you doing content.
Right.
You didn't have to do all this extra.
Don't act so shy. Pulling stuff out left and right here. There's your certificate. And the same there for you, sir, I thank you.
Thank you.
Without these two right here, we could not have made this. Come on. They set everything up for us. Made it out there before I did. I thank you for make sure I got the right one and right back. If not, y'all don't have to pass them out and share them around. I did, thank you.
Aaron, I'm pretty sure they stay here pretty much 24 hours a day.
I think they did.
Oh, thank you.
And for you, I thank you so much. I thank you. Without y'all, we could not have pulled this off.
Last but not least, madam, there that is for you. Thank you. You are very welcome. And that one. And I really do thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Because I promise you, we would not have been as successful as we were without those people helping us. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No.
No?
Sorry, I was on for a minute.
Okay, just for a quick summary of the public participation rules. When I call for public participation, if you want to say something, you can speak on every item that we discussed, but when I call for public participation, indicate if you want to speak, then when you're recognized, come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record if you so choose, and then you have 3 minutes to speak on the item. You can speak on each item if you want to. At the end of the meeting, we have public participation for non-agenda items, so if there's something that you want to talk about that wasn't on the agenda, same process. Once you identify yourself, your 3 minutes starts, and you can mention whatever it is you wanted to mention that wasn't on the agenda. So we will go on to approval of minutes. We've got the minutes of the regular meeting of April 28th, 2026. Did anybody have any changes, comments on the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Motion approved the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. If there are no further comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. We'll go on to our first item. We'll open the public hearing. And this is ordinance number 1142, requiring communications provider to provide registration final reading.
This is ordinance number 1142, an ordinance of the city of Callaway, Florida, amending chapter 14, article 1, section 14-3 of the city's code of ordinances, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, no rule interpretation, modifications, application, and providing for effective date. Again, this is just the limited amount of regulation we can do, since this is all pretty much preempted to the state as far as franchises go for telecommunications providers, but we are allowed to require registration so we can get contact information, tax ID numbers, make sure they have insurance, and make sure that they are, make sure that their franchise is the state, and they let us know about it.
You have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay, anybody that have any questions on that?
I just have one. On the back of the page of the
the ordinance, paragraph B, we forgot to put Florida statute in front of the paragraph. But other than that,
Okay, it says section 1.
the new just number.
Anything else?
We are working through internally on the processes because we're actually asking them, we can only do so much, but the one window that's in town right now, they're constantly sending us updates, but we're trying to figure out how we can be able to say, they're gonna be in certain sections at certain times so that we can try to get notifications out. That's not quite as easy because they don't technically have to give us a schedule. So if people are expecting that, we're gonna be able to say they're gonna be on this area, we really can't do that. It's very difficult because we've got this.
Yeah, they're allowed to be in our right of way.
Yeah.
And all we can do is
So,
learn who they are.
I know who they are, but I don't want anybody to have any expectations that we're gonna be able to say, Wednesday, they're gonna be starting in this area. They can give us tentative schedules, and we can say, more than that, if somebody's in there, they can call and say, hey, do we know who's in this area? And, we'll do our best to figure out who it is to get that information, but it's not really a mechanism for us to be able to get public notifications of where they're gonna be. So I didn't want anybody to have an expectation that that's what we're gonna be able to do. We do have one now that's working with us, but we've been sent schedules, and they're not really, they're on their own timeline of when they're gonna be.
When they go through the process, just ask them if it's a right of way that somebody is maintaining in front of their house, could they maybe try to put it back, dig it out.
That is one of the things that we've talked about is, that they need to do their best to put it back,
Yeah.
especially if you're doing it in a yard that's immaculate. We can only ask them.
Mhm. Okay.
Bill, is there anything you want to add to that?
So far with the new provider, we've had 0 complaints.
I know they've done all the locates on my street, but I haven't seen anybody working on that.
And the other day, they provided us with I saw an email come through the other day where they said, this is our next section. They ain't started on the first.
And they better not wait too long because the grass is growing, you mow the grass and the tank goes away. They'll need new locates. And if anybody in the audience wants to comment on the communication company registration? Not seeing anybody? I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 1142, requiring communications provider to provide registration as needed.
Second.
Okay, you've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, City Clerk.
Commissioner Bertha,
Yes.
Commissioner Briggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelletier,
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes. Okay, we will close the public hearing and go on to our next item on the regular agenda. Item number 2, resolution 26-05, personnel policy manual update. Read, please.
This is resolution 2605, a resolution of the City of Callaway City Commission revising the City of Callaway Personnel Manual, section 6.13A1 bereavement policy, repealing all resolutions or parts thereof which are in conflict herewith and providing an effective date.
City Manager.
As discussed at the last meeting, this is just revising it so that, the firemen will get 1 shift. So it's moving from 24 hours to 48 hours for just the fire department.
Anybody have a comment or question for City Manager?
Sounds good. Actually, yes. With the normal process, it's generally 3 shifts. What 3 shifts do you need? When somebody is, being interred, et cetera, they need the funeral leave. The fire people on the regular schedule,
2 on, 4 off.
or
2 on, 4 off.
They work a 48-hour this year. I think you're talking about like this little 40-hour week.
Right.
It's the 4 days.
But the key in this situation, where you're honoring a loved one, et cetera, is actually the time. You know, what if the time is not on their 48 schedule? What if the time is on
Their off
the
time.
internment is in their off time?
They could use that time to grieve, be with family members, to make preparations if it's before they're put in the ground or whatnot or whatever that they decide to do, so. And that's just how it's always been. We've never, you can't really schedule, the death or whatever. It just happens and then you take advantage of it. I can't, I don't even see it written in policy where you can say, all right, I need to make sure that you're at doing funeral business. It's just kind of like you grieve for them 2 days. And like myself being 40-hour a week, I have 3 days.
But like I say, it's easier for the other situation because the death may occur now and they have the services 2 or 3 weeks from then, that type of thing. And it's easy for the public works, for example, just use that to schedule the 3 days.
If they have, say, the service on a Saturday, you're off anyway, and they might have that Friday, Monday, Tuesday, or whatever, they'll just pick 2 days and we just ask it to be consecutive. So. I hope it's still clear as mud, or.
Well, no, I just think there's mud in there that you're gonna have to deal with in each situation. I have no problem with the one shift situation.
And we,
As far as scheduling, it would be kind of complicated for you.
it's just in time clock plus, we just documented it for bereavement leave, and that's it. It's a 2 days, about 48 hours, their whole tour. And I surveyed some more departments that are doing the 48, 96s. And, what I've been told, it just doesn't make sense if you have only 24 hours to say that person doesn't have additional annual leave or whatever. You really want them coming back in that state of mind after they just put a loved one in the ground or whatever. So it's just, we've done so much for firefighter mental health in our city. And I just feel like this is just another, to me, the mission's gonna be okay. I'm just more worried about my firefighters being okay. And to brag about it a little bit today, I just found out that our 2 newest firefighters just got their EMT certs. So our whole department is EMT certified, Fire 2 EMT. So I've been here 26 years, never. So, we're putting the best product we can on the road. And I just need them with that right mental state.
Totally agree. And also in here, it does state that city manager can revise as necessary.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
of course, under your guidance. So.
Yes. He's the boss. He's my boss now.
I think he's our boss.
Well, thank you, guys.
Good job.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
No.
Did anybody in the audience want to comment on this item, Mr. Shamer?
Ron Shinnerfit, 711 Kevin Circle, Callaway. I see this a little different than what I'm hearing. It takes the entire crew, every one of our city workers, and some benefits I think should be equal and the same. And this is one of those benefits that should be the same. I don't have a problem if you want to give everybody 48 hours, but I got a problem if you go dividing it up. This group gets 48, this group gets 24. That sounds like the big federal government, Before we get lifetime pensions for this group for doing a little bit, and it all hurts the same. Whenever you lose a loved one, it hurts just the same, whether you're out here digging ditches or whatever you're doing. So I think it should be the same for everybody, not just, I love the fire department, I've got all kinds of praise for them. They've been to my house several times, they've been to my son's house several times, and they've done an above and beyond job. So, you know, but I feel like it ought to be the same for everybody. I mean, I can't see dividing it up. I really can't. 'Cause it hurts just the same whether you're digging ditches or whether you're fighting fires. But, you know, like I say, just make it the same for everybody. Or as a shift, you know, there's always somebody wanting to pick up a little extra time if it falls in the middle or something. So, I mean, you know, or any place I've ever worked, there's always somebody looking for some overtime or another shift or a few hours. But anyway, I mean, that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dana. That was what I brought up the last time, that I have no problem with the fire department getting 48, but I'd like the other workers to get the same amount, but I was kind of the lone voice that felt that way, so. Yes, Mr. Bowehouse.
Yes, sir.
Paul Bohack, 7010 Mike Lane. When changes to the bereavement policy were first raised, the discussion focused on shifts. It was suggested that city workers had 8-hour shifts, except for firefighters who worked a different shift schedule. The bereavement policy originally allowed 24 hours for all city staff, but was questioned for firefighters given their different shift schedule. The proposed change in the bereavement policy refers to work days for city employees, but refers to shifts for firefighters. Whereas other city employees will have 3 days bereavement leave, firefighters will be granted 1 consecutive shift, 48 hours of bereavement leave. While neither I nor many of you on the commission nor many of those behind me in the audience would likely misunderstand the rationale for the proposed change, I do think it will create some discord for the city manager. City employees will have 3 days, firefighters will have 6 days. I think that becomes a potential issue for discord among the ranks. I think if it is passed, it should be made crystal clear that it is a decision by the city commission. If employees want to complain, the city manager should ask them to take the issue up with one of you. He should not be asked to defend it. He can explain it, but he should not be asked to defend it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Martin Bosler, 6303 Wallace Road. Let's get the utility department to work the same schedule these first responders do. Let's get y'all to work the same schedule. Let's house some people right over here. Obviously, some of that equipment's been taken out of there. Let's set up these bunks in there. Let's get all these people that have to come out here and replace my water line. Let's get them the same policy. Or we can understand that these people that come out here to take care of me or my neighbor who had a heart attack and the fire department came out, that's the people that the guy, y'all know I complain about my water leaks. I had water leak. They had to come out here 3 times to my house. And yeah, they do a very dangerous job because I live on Wallace and that is like a racetrack out there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the guy replacing my water line can get hurt. He's working with equipment, heavy machinery, he can get hurt. He's not wearing a full suit coming into my house when my house is on fire, dragging me out, having to put his mouth on my ugly face and give me CPR. So I don't care what we gotta do to take care of the fire department. I don't care what we got, I don't care. Send me their cash out, their Venmo, we can take care of these people. They're the people that are taking care of us, and we're all gonna, I'm sorry, but we are all gonna die. And there is a moment in all of our lives that we're gonna need them. And thank God for them coming out to our house when we're in need.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna sit quietly tonight, but Teresa Langston, 6031 Wayne Street. I agree with what Martin said. You work a 24-hour shift, so I think it's different circumstances. And honestly, I'd rather give them a 24-hour bereavement and have them right in their mind, because who knows when they're gonna be knocking on your door or actually busting in your door, saving your life. And I sure want them in the right frame of mind. And to also, to what was said about the city manager is hired to carry out what the commission votes on. So it's part of his job to take criticism and all that fun stuff if the employees don't agree with it. It's a totally different circumstances besides hourly employees that work 8-hour shift than our first responders. And I think they do deserve the 24-hour bereavement because it is one shift.
Thank you. Anybody else? Not see anybody? Do we have anything else to say, or somebody would like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution 26-05, personnel policy manual update, section 6.13, paren A.1, bereavement leave.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion in a second. If there's no further discussion, city clerk.
Commissioner Briggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelletier,
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Birdsall,
Yes.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes. So we move on to agenda item number 3, development order application, construction of the Shell Garage Shop Building, 5615 Wallace Road. City manager.
Mr. Brown.
Right next to his existing facility, Chris Walker has applied for a development order for a shell garage / shop building. We call it that because he's not sure exactly what's gonna go in yet. I'll let him tell his story about his nephew in a moment. But, it's a very simple design, not a huge garage building, tons of impervious surface, so the impervious surface ratio is just plenty. There is stormwater efforts, a fence requirement in the back. The planning board did have a couple questions about electrical stuff that Mr. Chris Walker, the electrician, was able to answer very well. So the planning board does recommend approval, as do I. If you have any questions, Chris is here tonight with us. We'll do our best to answer them for you.
Is this like a garage and shop for personal use that's attached to his house?
No, sir. No, ma'am. It's all zoned highway commercial.
Okay.
And it will be a shell building. Originally, it was gonna be a diesel mechanic shop. I know for a fact that Tyndall Air Force Base is in proximity. It could be anything. It could be an HVAC place.
Okay.
The way he's setting it up is real smart for a renter to come in. There's always people popping in asking me where can I move into, and I send them to realtors. It's their job. But it's in a good location. It's where it belongs. It's not in the CRA. It's just a block off of Timber Parkway.
Perfect. Okay. Did you want to say anything? Or
I'm here for the
anybody
questions.
have any questions for Mr. Walker?
Could you describe the building?
Oh. The property's 200 by 200 on the south east corner. It'll be, I think 40 foot, I'm setting it back like 40 foot on Wallace Road, the property's 200 foot deep. I want to put it on the east side of the property, so my electrical business is here.
Isn't it on the north side of Wallace?
It's on the north side of Wallace, but I'm putting it on the south side of the property facing Wallace.
Yeah. There we go.
My electric shop is here. There's going to be 25 foot between them. Like my electric shop, we have a yard on one side, the buildings are on, they're not going to touch by no means, but the building that I'm proposing to build, the parking will be going toward Tennille Parkway. My electric shop, the parking is going toward the avenue.
So it will be an enclosed building?
Yeah, it's a 40 by 80 steel building. It's a steel building that did that because you have dollar per dollar that's going to be there till way after I bid, unless of course you get some more than stars. Things I can guarantee, there will be no smoke shops, no marijuana shops, there will not be a bank, nor a gas station. We have plenty of them in Panama City. There ain't no room for one of them on Wallace Road. So,
And no car wash.
ain't gonna put a car wash. And I don't know if y'all know it, but there's about 27 coffee shops down Tennille Parkway now, so we don't need none of them here. I'm very particular about things. Before Bubba comes and tries to rent the building from me, I'm gonna find out what he wants to do. This was originally gonna be a diesel shop for my nephew, but he was all gung ho with it until we started talking about overhead and stuff like that he's not familiar with. So he is perfectly content with his mobile mechanic business now. But I had already purchased the property, purchased the building and all that, and he comes and said, hey, I'm prepared for that. I want to stay with what I'm doing. So I'm so far in now, there's not a long turnaround. And it's going to be attractive building. The question we had about electrical was just there's a power pole in the middle of the property, and I've already had one discussion with Florida Power. The engineer's supposed to call me tomorrow and meet. It's just going to be simple.
Just move it to the property line?
Well, there's already one on the property line that's going to feed the new building, but the one where the people had the double wide back in there. And with that, ways the city's going to benefit. Ironically, I can't explain how, but that double wide was still on well and septic tank. So we removed septic tanks, we removed the well. I'm waiting on the gentleman behind me to tell me city water, city sewage, so that piece of property's been sitting there for 100 years with the city not making a dime on it. It will have water, sewage, and we're going to do everything we can. I've been in good standings with the city since I built my building, and I'm not planning on changing. Will it be able to withstand a Cat 3? I noticed it was checked up to a Cat 2 on hurricanes. I think I'm pretty sure the steel building's 100, and I think it's right there. It's requiring 140 mile an hour wind zone, which should be a Cat 4. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. I think the building's rated at 145 mile an hour, just where it's just above the wind zone. And you know, all they do with that is a steel building, they just put extra bracing in it. Yep. It's what, like a garage door, an extra brace across. Just a couple extra braces. Okay, thanks. Anything else?
Anybody else have any questions?
So this has nothing to do with your business, except your
same owner.
Your same owner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. But no, I'm not expanding my electrical over there. I'm not doing anything like that. It was like I mentioned in the last meeting I went to last week. Long-term plan, drive down Wallace Road, pick up some rent checks, jump in my motorhome and go somewhere. So
the property is meeting the comprehensive plan. It's also meeting the zoning.
Yes.
As far as
I can promise you, before I wrote the check to the neighbor that wanted to move to Central Florida, I had a lengthy discussion with Mr. Fry about this, what I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do, because it's a lot easier to tell them no than it is to pay for something I won't be able to use.
Yeah, highway commercial doesn't cover a smoke shop, so.
No, but you ain't gotta worry about smoke shop, you ain't gotta worry about a marijuana shop, convenience store, gas station, or bank. There's plenty. We want something quiet and low traffic and all that, because like the other gentleman said, I've been on Wallace Road, I was raised on Wallace Road. I encourage sheriff's deputies to just come and park in my driveway. I'm thinking about putting a receptacle outside they can plug the phone into, and I might even put a little vending machine out there, because we need to slow Wallace Road down. And I just completely changed subjects, but we need to slow it down through there, because there's kids on bicycles and all this and that, and it's a very dangerous road, and I don't want to add the drag racing that goes on that road.
Well, the sheriff's department would appreciate that.
I'm sure. Do whatever we can. They work hard too.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Anybody else have anything up here? Anybody in the audience want to comment on this item? Not seeing anybody? We need a motion.
Motion to approve development order application, construction of a shell garage / shop building, 4615 Wallace Road, Callaway, Florida.
Second.
5615.
5650.
What is that?
46.
Sorry about that. 5615.
Okay, you've got a motion in a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will go on to item number 4. Vegetation rehab project, change order number 1.
We talked about this at the last meeting. This has to do with CA1, where we were raising it above the floodplain. This is going to be the one and only change order for this project. They're nearing completion of the 4th one, getting ready to move to CA1. Looks like we're still going to be under the time frame for the grant and everything, so we will not be asking for extensions. This reflects everything that's going to be needed to bring CA1 up, along with some of the additional items that we had noticed in whenever they were doing the rehabs of the other stations. A lot of it had to do with once the lift stations were pumped down, the bottoms of them were degraded out, we had to raise them up. All of this is also being incorporated into our master wastewater plan that we have. So we'll go for it. So also, we had a discussion with the people from the state and FEMA concerning CDBG-DR funds. There is some money that has been opened back up due to people not following project guidelines and their projects get pulled. We have requested money to cover this change order, but also, if y'all remember when we let this bid, originally, it was more than what was for the grant. We have also requested for those funds to be covered because we did follow all the guidelines. So I was hoping that we would have maybe heard something back by today. We sent this request in last week. As soon as I get word back on that, I'll let y'all know. The money to cover this is going to be coming out of the sewer impact fees because all these lift stations were upgraded to cover the needs for that area. So hopefully we'll get funds back to cover this. But as of right now, we would be using sewer impact fees to cover this cost.
Anybody have any question for Mr. Cook?
Actually, yes. When we approved the contractor, this all went out for bid.
Yes.
And we approved the contractor basically on the lowest cost for that. We seem to be, and this is an example of it, once we get into these things, it seems that the contractor that we've now agreed and hired is running into these issues. Now, were these issues not part of the original understanding of what the contracts are going to be about? With the people that we did not approve because they were higher cost, did they realize that these situations were there and included that in their bid? Or is this something that even the ones that we didn't approve didn't know about either?
No, no one would have seen these issues. The small amounts on the certain ones, like when we put this out for bid, we didn't have the capabilities when we drew the bids to draw the lift stations all the way down and see the conditions that were at the bottom of them.
Right. All these seem to be the bottom conditions.
Everything's the conditions that were underneath what was going on. We just
Or the
didn't know.
sidewalk.
Yeah. It wasn't until they were pumped down that we could see this. We've minimized as much as we can on cost. But unfortunately, we can't foresee everything when we're dealing with what's 30 foot under the ground.
Nor can the bidders? Or
No, they had no way to pump it down. These are all things that were found. They were verified by the CEI. CEI had to go through, and then of course the engineers looked at it and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And they were mitigated out by reinforcing with concrete. And then of course the wells were then sprayed in.
Now, what we're seeing on all these now, of course, we have a lot to go through over the years. Is this something that we should be considering as part of the bid? So we don't have, we talked about it a little at the last meeting that we have not to exceed bids. And then even on those, we seem to be coming back with, not giving any examples, be coming back with adjustments.
So one of the things that we're looking at now is what's called contingency in the bids. This had no contingency back then.
Okay.
Meaning that when they went through, there was nothing for them to come back. There was not a line item to pull out of. Some of the bids that we're putting out now, we verified, we want contingencies in there, like 10%. When we did the roundabout, okay, we ran into issues at the roundabout, but we had a small contingency money. And so once it was able to be done, we just pulled from that line item. But we came in $60,000 under budget on the roundabout. Okay, well, it wasn't because they found ways to do it. It was because we had contingency money there to cover the little things that couldn't happen. So we're now putting in. Some grants don't allow us to put contingency money in. And I'm not sure if this is one of them. This may be because the CDBG may not allow the contingency money line items to be in there because they want actuals. But the ones that we can't put contingency in, we like to have that little bit of leeway so we can say, the stormwater project that Bill's doing right now, there was a small $25,000 or something like that contingency. They ran into multiple issues too. And so when they came into an issue, Bill would go out, it would be verified, they'd look at it and go, okay, we'll take this additional money to redo a collar that we didn't know was broke. That's just, the one thing we try to get away from is of course, I'd rather come at you and ask you for more money, but not have a large pool of money sitting over there that we can just spend willy-nilly. So we make sure everything's documented and that all the contingency is justifiable. This particular project has a CEI. So the CEI has to go through, look at the pictures, do the evaluations. Sometimes they have to do site visits to look at it. But we didn't have contingency money on this. So the only thing we can do is come back and say, all right, this is where we are. We had to spend an extra X amount of money.
I'm not questioning the need, I'm just questioning Commissioner Pelletier is one of the best. It's saying, why didn't we know this ahead of time?
We couldn't pump the wells down.
And that's why I want to bring it up so we can get that clear.
We could not pump those wells down and see what the conditions were.
It's on a large part of this increase too, where they changed the floodplains and we have to raise.
Oh, yeah, I think 60-something thousand of that was where, and that has to do with the fact that the well had to be brought up higher outside of the floodplain. Well, that indicates that's on CA1.
On CA1.
Kimball, and that's a very viable one.
Kendall.
Yeah, Kimball.
Yeah.
And for that particular one, not only do they have to raise all the panels, but they also then have to, this particular one, there has to be a platform built for access. Because we can't go stick a ladder on it and go get up there, so there has to be a platform on it, and that's part of it. We discussed that at the beginning and all that. So, yeah, a majority of this is that, raising of that. And you can go through it and see, and I probably should have broken it out. Yeah, 52,000 of this is CA1. And so the rest of them had to do with, 5,000.
That's why I didn't ask questions, I figured that out.
Going through and double checking, to make sure. But when we're dealing with
And that's the CA1, all the buildings there are going to flood, but at least our CA1 will be above the flood.
Unless the flood's above the floodplain.
It's overkill, but it's necessary. You gotta do it.
And I think everybody agrees that the FEMA floodplain, they raised it. Outrageous.
Everybody have any?
That may be a 500,000 year storm.
Yeah.
Anybody have any question or comment for Mr. Cook?
No.
And, if anybody in the audience want to comment on this item? I don't see anybody. So would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve lift station rehab project, change order number 1. Just C1.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we will go on to item number 5. Award of RFQ number CM 2025-10, design of Lake Drive sidewalk. I'm gonna take care of this one.
So we put this out for bid back in October and it'd be out for 21 days. So I normally after the open days, I just realized I didn't. The 4 bids were received and after evaluation committee, the highest ranking firm was the Board of Professional Services. After many months and emails back and forth between us and them and DOT as far as negotiations, DOT did approve a not to exceed amount of $168,934.76. This is for the design of the Lake Drive sidewalks that'll go from Berkeley to Tyndall on Lake Drive.
And this is a LAP funded project, so it's 100% funded.
Right. And that amount is under the total, I believe the total we were awarded for LAP funds was $173,000. So that is under that amount. So it will be fully funded by LAP.
And do the LAP projects, they're a 2-year cycle, 1 year is planning, 1 year is due?
Yeah, yes, but I don't know when, well,
Yes, let's just say it is. I'm not sure what the funding cycle for construction is on this particular one.
It may be 2 different.
Or is it a separate cycle?
Yeah.
It's a separate cycle.
Anybody have any question or comment for city clerk? Did anybody in the audience want to comment on the bid award for the Lake Drive sidewalk design? Someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve award of the RFQ number CM 2025-10, design of Lake Drive sidewalk.
second.
We've got a motion in a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And that gets us through our agenda. We will go on to commission and staff comments. It's been a pretty quiet 2 weeks for me, so I don't really have anything to add except I'm out of the building life is good. Yeah, okay, let's start tonight. Commissioner Barstow, do you have anything for the group?
The last few weeks, I've got the opportunity to come out and just meet a lot of our city workers. It's a handful of them, just doing whatever their random job is. They didn't know who I was, but they were all performing. And then I introduced myself and they continued performing their duties. So that was an awesome thing to see that was going on. That's about it, man.
Commissioner Gray?
I've got to make a comment on that. It was an awesome thing to see our city workers working. And that is so true for the city workers of Callaway, but the normal situation is you got a government employee out there. There are 5 people doing a one-man job and this kind of thing. In the case of Callaway, we have one person doing a 3-man job.
Yeah.
So, in many cases, so excellent comment.
Yeah, they didn't even know who I was, but they were just doing it without just having no notice inspection, but already still jogging.
I'll wait for the city manager's report.
Okay, Commissioner Pelletier? Nothing?
I'll wait for the city manager.
Commissioner Ayers?
Answered a couple citizen inquiries. One was on speeding on Kimbrell again, except this time there was an accident. The person claimed that there's a family of cats ran out in front of it and then locked the brakes up. As we all know, there's no such thing as a family of cats. And slid into a telephone pole. At 25 miles an hour, your brakes don't lock up, you stop. So, so I talked to her about that, passed that on to city manager. She passed that on to Deputy Martin, and we don't get a response on those until after 60 days. So I'll be interested in what actually happened there. Boat race, there's an encampment, and I think we're looking at trying to do something with that. So I'll hold off on that till we get a chance to act.
We have the camping ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Actually got a draft.
We worked on that one back.
We did.
No, we got.
Way late. Sheriff's Department. Bring it back up.
We're not gonna wait late this time. Attended First Friday, very interesting. Also met with the city manager twice, and first time we traveled the city and looked at all the different projects. And I noticed Beacon Point is coming along. They're actually replacing the facing out there, just the skeleton part, but it's actually coming along. So, and that's all I have.
City clerk, do you have anything for us? No. City attorney?
Well, speaking of one, I did meet with Jeff Carter at my office for about an hour and a half to make sure he had all the files that he needed and all that sort of stuff. And so he's said he would start giving monthly updates. So obviously he doesn't need to come here and talk about potentially payment negotiations in the public. So he's just to start updating the city manager once a month and see what's going on.
Okay. Thank you. You're up.
All right, well, we didn't cover the lift station project. We've had some movement on the spillway, surprisingly enough. We got core approval. We're still not through all the process with DEP because DEP wants us to get core approval first, but it looks like we're gonna fall under a general permit for that. I'm still looking for funding for that project.
You say core approval, is that the Army Corps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we're still looking for some money for that. I really don't understand why we're not getting any traction on it. It's a very good project with a huge environmental impact. So we're still working on that. We're looking through some of the resiliency money and where it was used, and so we're still on their list. We're waiting to hear how far they're going to fund out this year. We were requesting, I think we budgeted 50% on this. So if not, we may come back and look at maybe just phase it in. We get half in 1 year's budget, half in another year's budget, and roll it that way.
That's a stormwater project.
It is.
And it's also in the CRA.
Yes, sir.
Stormwater is part of the CRA.
We have CRA funds in this, yes. Yeah. But it's gonna be a $2.6 million project.
We don't have that in CRA.
No, sir, we don't. So it is, yeah, if I had it in there, I'd do it. So, right now we're looking at it as far as a funding mechanism. I really don't want to pull the trigger without funding. We've got multiple people that are helping us look for this, to come up with a way. Some will come up with something. Sandy Creek is still sitting in the same place. We're waiting on the coral pit. The state is involved. They're trying to push it just as much as we are, but we're no further than we were the last 20 times I've told you this. Hugh Thomas is under we've done final walkthroughs. Probably within the next week or two, we'll get final as-built, and they'll turn that over to us completely, at which point I have told the contractor that if I don't get a response back on that fence by the end of the week, that we're just going to block the road. We just want to open it up. It doesn't service anything. We'll block the roads. And it is what it is at this point. It's either that or we're going to put a fence up, and the fence will only benefit the city. It will not benefit that area back there.
You say you're gonna put the fence up at our expense?
It would be at our expense if we have to do that. We need to secure our stuff.
I don't disagree with that. However, it was agreed upon.
It was agreed upon, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is it in the contract?
No, because we don't have a contract. This is the issue that we run into.
Yes.
Cherry Street, we got some well-needed rain, and we found out that we can create really good ponds on there, and they fill up really good. They have started with that underlayment that we talked about, the matting last time. They put down the first layer. They were actually out there working today because they're working in gravel, so they've been running compaction. They'll lay another layer, and then they'll go on top of that. Hopefully we get that section up and going here before long, so we can get that section of the street open. They're very diligent working on that right now as they're continuing down towards Bertha with putting in the stormwater stuff. Our crews are done with the first phase. That's completed. We're now waiting on them to get their pipes in. We'll start the second phase. And we do have the whole entire project has been, we're covered on our part with as far as our water and stuff goes. You may have seen some stuff go out today talking about some minor outages on South Gay. Basically what we're looking at is the main lines that are through there. Once again, we're looking ahead at the projects that are coming up. That particular project is at 90% plans for basically the repaving project. Before that goes in, we're going to go through what we're doing is we're cutting some road cuts and getting in some chase pipes underneath the road so that we have a future project coming up that's going to have to do with Laney Road. Is that Laney Road Drive? That goes around? Yeah. Laney Road Drive. That's fed by a single line. We want to lose that system. That is, we will be in increasing pipe sizes. And it's not of this year's budget, but we just want to be prepared. We don't have to cut that street later on, so we have our internal plans on how we're going to do it. We'll do all this in-house. We'll lay the new lines and everything and do all that ourselves like we're doing on Cherry Street. That'll be a next year project. It's not a very expensive project. It's just labor. But before we go in and repave Gay, we want to make sure we have all of our chase pipes and everything under the ground so that we don't have to cut that street. And that's just a little forethought that's coming out of Public Works and everything else. At the same time, we've just put a bid out. Ashley, did you get that published today? We're publishing another bid for materials only. That's going to be for Beulah. Beulah is actually at 100% plans. That particular main line is it's small. Again, we're dealing with 2-inch lines. They don't have fire protection, and we want to see, it should be less than $100,000. Once again, we use water impact fees to purchase this. We will go through, part of the line is actually under the street currently. We will leave that line, we will abandon it at one point, but we will lay a new line outside of the roadway. And we'll increase fire protection down through there. We'll be adding, how many fire hydrants are we having, Chief? 5. We're adding 5 hydrants down there. They have very poor.
We only have 2 on the
There's only
road.
2 on that whole entire road. And so, once again, we'll be increasing pipe size, getting that done. All of this will be done, once again, in-house. We just need materials is what it's coming to. We will get that done before we start on that project for Beulah. And then also, we should be set for lap funding on that, hopefully, eventually.
Getting back to Cherry Street, the original contract, we were looking at basically the 1st of December would be, Cherry Street would be done. That's under the original contract, original number of days. When we were dealing with the bridge, for example, we were getting a report as to how these may have changed, rain days and this kind of thing. Now, what's going on Cherry Street, hasn't been rain days, it's been everything else, and all justified. But that has expanded that time out. Do you have an idea of how much time that has expanded out?
I do not. I can get an estimate based on how fast things are moving now. And we can request what they think.
It's not a big deal. I mean, it's logical with everything that we've run into and legitimate. I mean, I have no complaints about that. I was just curious.
Commissioner, we can't even get a schedule on Cherry Street. How are we going to get a time frame?
Well, that's part of my discussion. Yeah, just an estimate of how much longer. We're getting questions. We're getting questions from citizens. When are we going to finish with this? When are we going to do this? It's not going toward the original plan, starting at Star Avenue. I mean, we're totally off the original plan. But when I get to the question of what does it look like when Cherry Street's gonna be completed,
We don't know.
we don't know.
Right. And we should know. We should have some sort of schedule. But
Yeah.
again,
Just
some
an
reason know
idea.
that we can't control our contractor.
Yeah, well, we have all the explanations and I'm not disagreeing with any of the delays that we have.
Cherry Street would be 2 years.
We said that, what, 4 years ago?
Tim and I have been working on the amphitheater that, has been finalized. It's on order. We're expecting the engineering plans to be in next week. And then we'll start laying that out. We're gonna have to get a bid together, for someone to basically, we'll have the engineering plans for basically the structure itself. We will come back then and of course decide how much concrete and everything that we'll need, that we can do most of that in-house. And we've actually had lots of people that have reached out and offered to help, including
My brother, Charlie.
yeah, my brother, he built the one.
He built the one in Millville.
Yeah. And he's been a wealth of knowledge. He's been very much, saying, make sure this is considered, and this is considered. And so everybody's been a big help. We're very excited about how that's going and how well that's going to be. They said the amphitheater, they say it should be delivered in about 9 weeks. Our goal will be, once we get the plans in, we'll go ahead and set forth, get the bases set, get the anchors ready, and then when it comes in, we'll like to be out having somebody come in and build it, put it together.
Is this kind of like a pole barn design?
No.
Kind of structure?
Go down
That'd be
to
nice.
Millville and see what they've done down here.
They're the folks.
I haven't coached your plan. Don't let me forget, and I'll send it.
Put your email or?
We're waiting to hear back. We received information that FEMA had awarded us that stormwater grant that we requested 2 years ago. And that's where it come from. They just suddenly called and said, hey, we're gonna give y'all a $300,000 grant. With that, I put our current stormwater study on hold, pending that grant to come in. We do have a match on that. What we've paid so far is actually less than the match, so we would still be good on this. And they do feel like we can go ahead and utilize it. We're waiting to get the agreement back from the state right now. So as soon as that comes back, hopefully we can get that. I have been told that we should be in line to be awarded a couple other grants that are coming up. This is all coming from inside the state. It's all verbal. But we do have a couple of projects that are in there, and it looks like we may get some more lift stations. That's a good one. The spillway's in there, but it doesn't look like it's gonna qualify this year. So if I could get something saying, oh, we'll get it next year, then we may just hold off and see if we can make it till next year without the thing falling apart. If it falls apart, we'll just look at it and go, we told you. And we'll go there. So that's all I have. Oh, I will tell you, FlexNet, give a quick update on FlexNet. We are sitting now, after the tower's been adjusted, and we took a read the other day, we're sitting at about 83% on read. They want us to be at 90. We have been going through each meter right now, and it looks like we will start doing some hands-on surveys of why certain meters are not reading, and staff is going through those right now and start identifying those. And it's about 1,500 meters is what we're not reading now. So we need to figure out, A, we are reading them with the drive-by, so are they not switching over, which means we just need to go out and individually make sure that it's switched over because it's not done electronic. Some of them are just meters that are just, they may be in the ground and they're just not operational because they're not hooked up to anything. They're all meters. And they're still connected. So 10,000 meters and dealing with a system that's 15, 17 years old that I don't know that we'll ever get it right, but we're gonna get close. So that's where we are with that, and they've scheduled training to start, so that utility billing will be able to go in and run the system once it becomes completely operational. So we're getting closer.
So how many, what's the percentage of how many we got right now? You said 83.
Well, that means we have 8,300 that are reading.
83, it's 83.
How many are reading on drive-by?
Most of the time, our rereads set at probably 200.
Okay, so that means they gotta go to 200 different locations to read?
Those vary every month. It's not the same one
I understand.
every time. Sometimes it's because a car's sitting over top of it. Sometimes it's just because it doesn't get a read.
Right.
And so, but we'll probably, I hate to say this, but we're probably going to end up going out and checking about 1,000 meters. And we'll take that on as a project, and it'll be more than utility bill. It'll be more than 2,000 going out and checking. We'll pull in public works and we'll go out and we'll run checks just to see what's going on. And why those are not. And, it may be just as much as if we pull it up on a handheld when we're going by, why is it not getting up? It could be the MXU is in the ground and it's not going through a building. So we need to readjust the MXU so that it reads better or something like that. Most of the time it's just minor things, but we will go through because the goal's going to be 100%. I know FlexNet says they want 90. Nah, no. We're going to shoot for 100%.
Yeah, more than that we want, because that's all mine.
Yeah. Well, just because it doesn't read,
Yeah, I know.
it just shows up on the report as unread.
Yeah.
So in a case like that,
We have to go out.
we would load it and we would go drive by. And then sometimes you just get it to where you just don't get a read off a meter and they have to go out and do a physical read. And that's just common. There's no way to control 10,000 meters and expect to get it off. So that's FlexNet.
Anybody have anything he didn't cover?
We got a couple.
Go ahead.
Paving, where we at with that?
On our turnkey,
Yes.
I'm now on my third person. Now that they understand what's going on. We were supposed to meet last week and something happened and I wasn't able to meet with him. We're just basically determining what we're gonna be. I did tell them that, I did send them the section over on, what's the name of the street, where we gotta do reclamation. And they're supposed to be pulling me a bid right now because we'll have the bid for the paving part will be there, the reclamation will be separate, or the mill. And so I'm waiting to hear back from them. And then we've got 2 or 3 other spots that we're gonna do. And we're just trying to, right now, work through the process of how do we wanna do it? How many can we do at a time? What do they wanna see whenever we do it and stuff like that? It's just right now, we're getting into the fine details on the best way to do it. Because, we don't wanna waste their time. They gave us great prices. But at the same time, we need to get stuff done quickly.
And the only other thing, if we could, we know we're not gonna have a parade on Cherry Street this year, and we canceled our 4th of July. Can we, staff, put something together as to what we're gonna do in lieu of the parade? In the next meeting or next month? We know we're not gonna have a parade on Cherry Street, and it ain't gonna happen. November is just a few months away.
Yes, we'll good. Good luck, come see me. Bill, we'll probably see you there in the meeting.
At least we can have one celebration, for the year since our charge $250.
We did just hear back from the Freedom 250 truck. They said they have over 1,000 requests right now, but they will get back to us.
Yeah. They're gonna be down the road here in a couple of months, so maybe they'll fit us in. But at least,
we told them
can't say
they'd be
we
real
did.
flexible.
Yeah.
We have 2 locations, we can do it.
Good. Is that it? Anybody have anything else you didn't cover that you wanted about? No? Okay, we'll go ahead and read the announcements. May 17th, this Sunday, we have the Historical Society meeting. If you like fishing at all, we have a good speaker. Winston Chester is coming, so he's always a good speaker. I don't fish, and I still think he's interesting. So come on to the museum at 2:00 on Sunday if you're interested in that. May 19th, does it look like we'll have a planning board meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, so May 19th, we've got a planning board at 6:00. It's not on here, but May 25th, offices are closed for Memorial Day. That's Monday the 25th, and then Tuesday the 26th is our next commission meeting.
I did have one question. We're doing the cleanup this week, right?
Friday.
Friday.
From 10 to 12.
Where do we meet?
Public Works.
Did you see, POC?
I have no idea, I saw two things there about the ones. I think it's because we maybe needed to hold off to get them.
Okay, anybody think of anything else? I'm glad you said that about the cleanup. Okay, if there's nothing else, we will go on to public participation. Who in the audience would like to talk about something we haven't already talked about? Anybody? Ms. Langston?
Gave everybody a chance.
That's right, come on. You might close out the meeting, come on.
Teresa Langston, 6031 Lane Street. So I just have a couple questions about the fence. You're saying that we're paying for the fence now?
Did not say that. I said, if they don't come through, we will have to consider it. For the crossing
Close the
area.
road before we pay for a fence.
Well, okay, well then they, but you said that you previously had emails confirming that the contractor was going to pay for a fence or do the fence.
I'll have to go back and look. I've had conversations with them since that conversation on the status of the fence.
That has been verbal conversations or?
I'll have to go back and review. I don't want to make a comment about with it being, possibly being wrong. I need to make sure that, I don't know what the emails are.
Okay.
I just know that when it got brought back up, yes, the emails started flying.
All right, and then you made a statement that you had just met with Mr. Carter, the attorney. And so I was just curious of why it took 6 weeks after the commission stated to go forward with it to meet.
Well, I had sent him documents and emails, it's just, we just met in person just to make sure he had everything, because your questions had come up and they hadn't got any updates, so I was calling down to the office to make sure he had everything.
So the ball was already rolling, you just hadn't had an
I just want to
additional
make sure.
meeting. Right, I just wanted
Just
to
keep it
clarify
going,
that.
just keep it going, yeah.
That it was going somewhere and not just kind of, on the back burner, like things get put, like,
Right.
things end up.
Yeah, it was more just keep it going.
Okay, and then who is doing the engineering on the amphitheater?
We are.
You're doing your own engineering?
Well, the engineering for the pier beams, once everything was, we had satisfied all their questions that they had, they provide the engineering drawings for free.
Who provides the?
The company that we're getting it from,
company that you're
RCP.
getting- Okay,
RCP Shelters.
RCP Shelter?
They're on Sourcewell, state Sourcewell contract.
All right, and then about the spillway, now was the spillway ever grant funded or?
No.
It never has been grant funded,
No.
it was just
No.
one of us?
Going forward, ever since we realized, ever since it started really falling apart.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify if it was grant funded or not. All right,
We want it to be.
all right, thanks.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Thank y'all. Everybody have a great evening. Have a happy